The Dominating Legacy of Silent Suzuka by Pyrrhixz. Well, we reacted to the Rice Shower video, though I haven't uploaded it yet. I will, though. And we'll jump straight into this. Again, I don't know anything about the real-life horses, so this will be interesting to look at.
A common theme in Uma Musume is inspiration of past generations. In previous videos, we've covered the inspiration of Tokai Teo by Simbali Rudolph.
Very much, and I got quite strong Haru Urara. I have my first B+ with Haru Urara, and I'm almost at 9,000 points. In fact, my queen is my daughter is stepping up. All of us need some horse. We're not humans. We're horses.
A nod to real-life events and a source of motivation for Teo to try her absolute best. In doing so, Teo would inspire the main characters of Season 3, Kita-san Black and Satono Diamond. Though their stories will be saved for future videos,
I do not have that card yet. I do not have that card yet. I'm grinding to get that card. I'm trying to have enough until probably next week, Thursday. This is terrible. I hope that I get at least one copy. I hope that I get like 7 more pulls or so I get enough for a copy, so I can exchange enough for a copy. That's my goal. That is my goal.
To come. Today, I wanted to focus on a Season 1 fan favorite from the anime, one who inspired Special Week and became her closest friend. Once more, just like all Umas, this story is based on real-life events. This is the story of Silent Suzuka, the runaway from another dimension who dominated the racecourse. Silent Suzuka was born on May 1st, 1994 in the town of Biratori, Hokkaido. Just like our previous video with Tokai Teo, Silent Suzuka was a stallion with a legacy continued on from his sire. Suzuka's sire was Sunday Silence, an American racehorse who retired with a total of 10 races, with the lowest placement being second out of all of them. Interestingly,
the lowest ever was second? Interesting. Good horse.
Despite being a horse from the United States, Sunday Silence would find himself venturing to Japan. Several factors played a role in Sunday Silence's transfer to Japanese soil. At the time, Sunday Silence was named Horse of the Year in 1989 after winning the Kentucky Derby. Due to the dominating record of Sunday's career, it caught the attention of Zenga Yoshida, a prominent Japanese breeder who had already invested in Sunday Silence. Arthur Hancock III, the owner of the farm Sunday Silence was born on, was struggling with financial difficulties at the time. Due to this, and lack of interest from American breeders, Yoshida would claim ownership of Sunday Silence, taking him back to Japan. This wasn't to race Sunday, but instead to make him a breeding stud for future race horses. Low interest was also present in America due to an
Okay. So American horse gets bought by Japanese man, and then is planned to use for breeding. Okay. Well, if this is the same as Rice Shower story, I will leave now. I don't think it's gonna be that sad. I don't think that horse dies on the track. I don't think that's gonna happen. Run through dimensions. Now I want to see her against the Flash. She probably beats the Flash, just like Goat Ship is literally a goddess in some other game.
Injury Sunday sustained following his retirement. Ironically, the same decorated horse who has met with skepticism from American breeders would lead to be one of the most successful sires for the future of Japanese horse racing. Silent Suzuka would debut on February 1st, 1997 in Kyoto. Suzuka would take first place in this race, catching the eye of spectators with his debut. This wasn't a normal victory that people would see from a maiden race, but instead a complete blowout. Silent Suzuka would win this 1600-meter race by 7 whole lengths, a dominating performance of speed on a turf-based racecourse. Even from an early age, Suzuka showed promise on turf-based tracks. This race would make Silent Suzuka a fan favorite. However, unlike his maiden debut, the remainder of the year wouldn't be so impactful. Over the following races that Suzuka would participate in, ranging from March 2nd, 1997 to December 14th, 1997, we'd see Suzuka experience highs and lows of his racing career. Suzuka would only win 2 of the 8 following races, with the lowest placement being 15 at the
Yikes. Okay. Also, I just realized Uma Musume technically could have infinite content. Because horse racing isn't dead. So there could be more and more horses coming up, newer ones and stuff, right? Not just older ones. Who knows? Maybe even older than the ones that are both in the global NJP version and stuff. It's infinite content, even though stronger than Goddess, Another World. She's a female. True.
Mile Championships in Kyoto. This, surprisingly enough, is all too common for Japanese racehorses. As I've stated in previous videos, the odds of a horse winning a race at all is already slim to begin with. Most horses don't even reach 10 total races in their career, let alone persevere past that point. Suzuka's 1997 race history has a multitude of factors that led to losing the race. In the Yayoi Show, Suzuka's second race, held on March 2, 1997, Suzuka would go under the gate before the race started, shaking the jockey and resulting in a low placement. After
what was his goal? What was his goal? Bro wanted to said, yeah, I'm running before that is even done. Okay, yikes.
After a sequence of 2 wins following the Yayoi Show, Suzuka's new aim would be the Tokyo Yushun, or the Japanese Derby. Unfortunately, Suzuka would once more fall short of victory, placing 9th overall. At Suzuka's following race, the Kobe Shimbunhai, he showed promise, hanging towards the front until the home stretch. This seeming victory would be thwarted by Matikane Fukukitaru, who would overtake Suzuka in the final spurt. In the 2 races that followed, Suzuka would change jockeys from Hiroyuki Uemura, who'd been with Suzuka since his debut, to Hiroshi Kawachi. Hiroyuki would express his grievance with Suzuka failing to cooperate with his instructions. Over the course of multiple races, Suzuka would not respond well to his jockey's commands. This change will result in 2 more low placements for Suzuka. Just like with Hiroyuki, Kawachi also faced similar issues when trying to work with Suzuka as well. Silent Suzuka would prove to be difficult to work with for yet another jockey, resulting in another set of low placements in future races.
Interesting. So he didn't particularly like, either he didn't like the jockeys, or he in general just wasn't too keen on the racing. One of the two.
These being the Autumn Tenno Show and the Mile Championships held in 1997. In addition to the jockey's difficulty to cooperate with Suzuka, his racing style was also not yet refined as well. Silent Suzuka had an odd racing style where he'd advance to the front of the pack only to lose steam and fall behind as the race continued. Following the string of defeats, Kawachi would be replaced by Yutaka Take, the jockey who, for all but one future race, would be by Suzuka's side as his racing career continued into 1998. This would be the point where Suzuka would go from an average racehorse to one of the greatest horses to ever emerge from Japan. In the anime, Silent Suzuka changes teams from Team Riel to Team Spica, a nod to the exchange of jockeys Suzuka would experience in his real career. In the anime, it is stated that Suzuka disobeyed orders by ignoring her instructions to conserve energy, causing a rift between the trainer and Uma. Another parallel between the anime and real-life events are the circumstances leading up to Suzuka's transfer. The jockeys previous to Take, reflected in Team Riel, would not understand how to fully harmonize with Silent Suzuka, leaving untapped.
I need to watch this anime and the movies, because I heard the movie has some crazy animations, like some really crazy stuff going on. Okay. Now we're watching some horse racing lore. Interesting. Yeah, we're watching horse racing lore. I need to watch the Haru Urara one as well.
Potential yet to be seen. Suzuka's transfer to Yutaka Take, reflected in her transfer to Team Spica, would showcase the true potential that Silent Suzuka had, and the perseverance to bring out the absolute best of his racing capabilities. Season 1 of Uma Musume highlights Suzuka's dominating maiden debut and the final 2 races of his career, these being the Mainichi Okan and the Autumn Tenno Show in 1998. In addition to these 2 highlighted races, 1998 would prove to be a dominating year for Silent Suzuka. In the 5 previous races Suzuka participated in, he'd placed first in every single one, Not only this, but in addition,
Cool. Interesting. Okay, really cool. So 6 races, just one in 1998. Okay. The OVAs and the movie were fully in Cygames' hands, so they dumped a lot of money into them. Well, then it makes sense. Yeah, then it makes sense. That would result in better quality. I mean, they are one of the biggest sponsors for actual horse racing as well, right? If I remember correctly, as far as I've heard.
to these dominating victories, 2 would be record-setting times. Suzuka's win streak in 1998 would also lead to a surge of interest in Japanese horse racing overall. The period in which Suzuka raced would be dubbed as the golden age for race horses, with Suzuka being a major driving factor in revitalizing the popularity of the sport. Suzuka wasn't only winning races, but doing so by a wide margin against his competitors. This would earn Suzuka the title of being the runaway from another dimension, and on May 30th, 1998, that title would prove fitting for Silent Suzuka. At this point, Suzuka remained as an undefeated racehorse for 3 consecutive races in a row, these being the Valentine Stakes, Nakayama Kinen, and the Kokura Daishin, where Suzuka would set a record time. Popularity for Suzuka had already skyrocketed, resulting in high favor for Suzuka to win the upcoming G2 race. Despite Suzuka's popularity, the pool of horses he'd compete against were a very strong roster in their own regard. Suzuka would be put against multiple racehorses with winning streaks of their own, most notably Taiki Eldorado and Midnight Bet. For context, the Kinko show, the race Suzuka would participate in, had a record time of 2 minutes 1.4 seconds. This meant that in order to ensure victory, Suzuka would need to at least cross the finish line by the 2-minute mark. No one would expect just how much lower Suzuka would set this time. Suzuka
Oh, foreshadowing? We got a ginormous record. Okay. Pyrrhixz is preparing the Tachyon video. Okay. Cool.
Suzuka's running style is a gamble in itself, a risky method that has a horse sprint at full speed right out of the gate. Utilization of this technique, dubbed as the runaway method, were used by horses who either disliked physical fights or had a strong desire to run ahead of the pack. For Silent Suzuka, his reason would be the latter. Despite the risky method, Suzuka remained at the front of the pack by a large margin. This race will result in Suzuka's final time being 1 minute and 57 seconds, with Midnight Bet, the second place recipient, clocking in a time of 1 minute and 59 seconds. Silent Suzuka has set a
That's almost a minute difference. Holy heck, bro. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that name is fitting. Never mind. That name is in fact fitting. I think that name is very fitting.
dominating record time, beating Bet by distance, with the official documentation stating by 11 horse lengths. This victory would solidify Suzuka's 4th consecutive win in 1998. On July 12th of the same year, Suzuka would compete in the Takarazuka Kinen, a G1 race that would truly test Suzuka's fighting spirit. Up until this point in his career, Suzuka had yet to claim a victory in a G1 competition, with the previous 4 victories being either G2 or G3 races. This race would also prove difficult due to Take being unable to jockey Suzuka. Originally, due to the distance of the Takarazuka Kinen, Silent Suzuka's handler would opt to not race him and instead plan to set the goal of winning the Autumn Tenno show later on in the year. Due to this, Take would instead jockey Airgrew for the Takarazuka Kinen. This was the plan, until by sudden request of Suzuka's owner, he was suddenly registered for the G1 race. Due to the short time between registration and the race day, Suzuka was paired with Katsumi Minai. Worry quickly circulated due to Suzuka's history of previous handlers and if he'd be able to squeeze a victory with Katsumi as his jockey. Luckily for Suzuka, Katsumi
Interesting. I guess he really liked the previous guy. Like the third guy. Interesting. Otherwise this would not really make sense. I guess it could also depend on the skill of the jockey, but I don't know. Interesting.
was a well-seasoned jockey who had worked with multiple famous racehorses, most notably Tamamo Cross, and Oguri Cap. Even with the new jockey, Suzuka would manage to claim a victory for his 5th consecutive race in a row. Katsumi had later recounted that it was as if the horse ran on his own. The harmonization between jockey and racehorse was clearly present, and Katsumi highly rated Suzuka's overall capabilities on the racetrack. By this point, Suzuka was able to control his pace much more effectively, reducing the probability of running out of stamina mid-race. Suzuka would instead sprint at high speed right out of the gate, slow down and regain stamina midway through, and spurt on the final straight. With this being the final G1 victory for Katsumi Minai, he retired shortly after the Takarazuka Kinen, aiding Suzuka to maintain his chain of first place finishes. Following the Takarazuka Kinen, Suzuka would participate in the Mainichi Crown. As
Shoot was so good, it was time to retire. I see.
stated previously, a race that was showcased in Uma Musume Season 1, Silent Suzuka will be put once more against a set of strong competitors. In this race, most notably,
why does she have a giant carrot plushie? Why? I mean, okay, but why?
Grass Wonder and El Condor Pasa. This race was broadcasted to over 130,000 people, despite it being a G2 race. As personified in the anime, Silent Suzuka would once more show clear domination in this race, beating both Grass Wonder and El Condor Pasa by a decent margin. In post-interviews held with Pasa's jockey, he would state that it was as if he couldn't even step on Suzuka's shadow, showcasing the sheer strength that Suzuka had to maintain a lead over strong competitors. This victory would mark Suzuka's 6th consecutive win in 1998, but would have much deeper meaning to Japanese horse racing. At the time, there was an order in place to protect Japan's domestic horse racing industry. A rule had been established preventing foreign imported horses from participating in G1 races. This was to avoid the now common practice of purchasing overseas horses for a cheap price that displayed strong pedigrees and racing potential. Both El Condor Pasa and Grass Wonder were product of this practice. The fear was present that with an influx of foreign horses, the reputation of Japanese ranches would plummet, as well as the training methods needed to the Japanese people. Silent Suzuka would shatter these notions with his dominating victory at the Mainichi Okan, proving once more that horses born and raised in Japan could very well be fierce competitors in their own regard. This victory would serve as an opportunity to lift the ban on foreign horses participating.
Interesting. So Japan had the fear that by importing foreign horses, it could diminish the success of Japanese horses. Okay. Well, guess that idea was wrong.
In G1 races, Silent Suzuka's career was at an all-time high, but unfortunately, this would be where his luck would run out. With a staggering growth in popularity and thousands of adoring fans, Silent Suzuka will participate in the Autumn 10 No Show. Suzuka had previously participated in the Autumn 10 No Show a year prior. However, he had an unremarkable placement, finishing 6th overall. This time, Yutaka Take and Suzuka went into the race with high spirits, ready to show the audience yet another dominating victory. This would mark Suzuka's 7th consecutive win overall if he were to place first in this race. At the start of the race, as the anime and real footage showcased, Suzuka wasn't only in the lead, but was in the lead by an incredibly large margin. The JRA race footage shows that Suzuka was so far in front of the pack that even a wide shot of all the competitors could barely capture Suzuka's staggering lead.
Damn. I guess it was just too much. And then he ran out of couldn't recover enough, and then lost. Look, you know, the case when the Ford beat Ferrari in a car race was so special. They made a movie on it. That's interesting. That's interesting. Wow. A Ford beating a Ferrari. That's crazy.
This was met with cheers for Suzuka to set yet another dominant victory once more. However, as Suzuka continued to run, everything suddenly changed. Suzuka began to decelerate, slowly grinding to a halt as his competitors passed him. In the anime, Suzuka also runs irregularly, as if she lost her balance and tempo. Mid-race, Suzuka had fractured his left front leg. rendering him unable to finish.
Calm down. No horse is dying in this video. We've got that the last time. No horse to be dying. Not a horse. No horse is dying. We don't get a horse tripping. We don't get a euthanization. We get nothing. Thank you.
Finish the race. An injury mid-race can be dangerous for both the horse and their jockey. An example of this would be Reischauer's mid-fracture causing his jockey.
Why? Why do you have to bring it up again? Don't!
Matopa to sustain injury with the fall. Suzuka, despite being injured, didn't topple and fall, but instead, as Take describes, it was as if Suzuka had attempted to protect him, trying all he could to not cause Take injury with a high-speed tumble. Race records for Suzuka show that he did not finish this race, and instead was transported off the racetrack for further examination. Later analysis of this footage revealed that this injury could have been avoided. It seemed as though Suzuka had run faster than his body could handle, and the repeated stress on his leg finally gave way. In the anime, we see Silent Suzuka begin to recover from these injuries and eventually return to the track once again. But this is all to pay respect to Silent Suzuka's legacy. It's common belief that horses will rebel and buckle if they feel threatened, or accelerate irregularly if their jockeys can't control them. This, however, was not the case for Suzuka. Take and Suzuka had an extensive history together, and encountered little to no conflict when on the racecourse. Even recounts from Take revealed that Suzuka didn't show any signs of irregularity in behavior, he just accelerated on his own. This led many to believe that Suzuka simply wanted to see how fast he could go, which, once more, is clearly personified in Uma Musume. Unfortunately, at the age of 4 years old, Silent Suzuka, due to his injury in the Autumn Tenno show,
had to retire. Okay, had to retire. Hopefully had to retire.
Would be euthanized.
But why? What the fuck? No! Not again! What is this? Stop euthanizing the horses! No! It was that bad? It was that bad. It was so bad that you couldn't just put homie on some ranch and like take care of him. No!
Ending a career with an undefeated year of racing. Unsurprisingly, this event came as a major shock to fans of Japanese horse racing. A Fuji TV announcer's phrase, "the Sunday of Silence," would become the symbol of this tragedy. The Autumn Tenno show would take place on November 1st, 1998, which fell on a Sunday. This phrase, "the Sunday of Silence," would pay respects to the day of Suzuka's passing, and also the legacy that he came from, being an offspring of Sunday silence. To many, Suzuka's abrupt death was one of the biggest what-ifs in horse racing history. Suzuka had finally found a style which suited him, a jockey who he trusted dearly, and had gained the adoration of thousands.
But why? Was it really that bad? Was it so... I mean, he didn't trip. Was that terrible? That was not needed. That was not needed.
All these achievements alongside the prospect of even more wins snuffed out in an instant. Uma Musume did a great job of showcasing Suzuka's legacy in the anime. As mentioned earlier, instead of simply writing Suzuka out of the series, she instead remains a motivator for Special Week and the rest of Team Spica. Uma Musume tends to shy away from creating scenarios that didn't occur in real-life records, but instead aim to honor the legacy that was left behind by racehorses who met an abrupt end.
At least they're not euthanizing them in the show.
Silent Suzuka and Reischauer are both examples of this. Although they still exist in the series, their stories have ended long ago. A touching legacy hidden in the anime is Special Week and Suzuka's friendship. This is a nod to Take's following race in the Autumn Tenno show, where alongside Special Week, Take would bring home a first-place finish a year after Suzuka's tragic incident. A touching legacy displayed by a tight bond that these two Uma share while training in Tracen Academy. Suzuka's legacy is also highlighted in Uma Musume Pretty Derby, where the final race in her career before the Ura finale is the Autumn Tenno show, giving players a chance to allow her to finish a race that she never would. The impact of Suzuka's death hit people incredibly hard. A recount from Junko Hosoe, a race commentator who also appears in Uma Musume, states that people flooded the phone lines of the JRA Tokyo racecourse, all inquiring if Suzuka was okay. Amazingly, the
Suzuka is not okay, and I'm not either! How dare you! I know it's a big deal when horses injure their legs, but come on. It wasn't even a break, just a fracture. Knew it. Yeah, you knew it. Small fact, IRL Special Week has quite a was quite hateful to chestnut horses. Wait, Special Week is racist? That's crazy.
JRA did not turn these callers away. The internet wasn't as widespread at this time, so instead, the JRA spent the entire day relaying Suzuka's situation to concerned fans, urging them to pray for Suzuka's swift recovery. Suzuka's passing also led to the creation of memorials and even a dedicated song to honor him. This song is entitled Tenma no Yoni, like a Pegasus. Today, fans of Suzuka can visit the Chugyo racecourse to honor and pay respects to his legacy, a racehorse who redefined Japanese horse racing and left behind a string of triumphant victories, personified in Uma Musume by a diligent Uma with a deep compassion for her friends and a drive to always give it her all. This was the story of Silent Suzuka.
My heart is hurting. My heart, it's hurting. How dare you?
A career which ended abruptly, but will leave behind a legacy that would inspire future generations to come. Who should I cover next in this series, and what was your favorite part? Be sure to let me know.
My favorite part is the general story. My not so favorite was the dying of the horses. But why? Why? That is just crazy, but interesting. Very interesting, but still crazy. How many more are getting euthanized? You could watch the Teo one eventually, but I'm not gonna watch them back to back. I'm not gonna watch them back to back. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna react to more of these. Like, comment, and subscribe.